We're live. We're not live. We're recording. Okay. Let's fuss and everything before I get sorted. And I'm practicing projecting my voice, which maybe is making me come across as aggressive. I hope not. I'm not aggressive. I'm just cheeky. Okay. Hi everybody, welcome back to Laaleebee Knits. Thank you so much for supporting my little video last time. I can't quite believe how many people have watched it and I think enjoyed it and subscribed. It's crazy, but thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate you watching it, my babbling. I'm gonna do my best to project my voice until I get a microphone. I have been given that feedback when I speak publicly that I tend to mumble, where people find it a bit difficult with my accent to understand what I'm saying, so I'm going to project my voice like I'm talking to a lecture hall and hope for the best. Hopefully you can hear a little bit better in this episode what I'm talking about. So yeah, I'm back. I don't think I'll do every single week of a podcast, but I thought for the first few weeks we're getting a wee bit of content up on the YouTube channel. I would, give you guys something to watch, and then whenever things pick up a bit in my job and work, I'll maybe switch to every 2 weeks. But I'm back. I've got a little bit of progress on some projects that I've been working on that you saw last week, and I've picked up a couple of different projects as well, so I will go through those. I got a couple of little things in the mail, and then I've also got a knit along I want to talk about, because I love a little sock knit along, and there are quite a few going around at the minute, which it seems to be the season for knit alongs, especially for socks, so I'm in. So yeah, let's get started. The first thing that I've been knitting on is my What the Fade shawl, and I got a little bit of progress on it. I've finished fading my brioche section. Let me just show you. See, that's a much nicer natural fade than this bleh that I had. Much nicer. So that's my ching fibre. This is my pixie yarn coming in and fading in. So that's the back of it. So I have finished with all these nightmare ends. They're a bit of a task to juggle while you're adding in and fading your brioche colours. So I finished those. So I think it's another... I think I have another 4 or 5 repeats of my brioche in this colour to go, and then I switch to Garter City. And it's a good job. I like Garter again. I can hear my other half fussing about. It's very strange talking to my iPad. And he's noisy as well. That's him. He's gone and got himself some coffee. Has not dropped any off for me yet. But anyway, that is my What the Fade shawl. The rows are getting longer and longer now. So I forgot just how enormous the shawl gets, and then someone was talking about it in their podcast. God, who was talking about it? Was it Needles at the Ready? Someone was talking about their What the Fade shawl and how long it was, like 2,000 stitches by the end of it, and I forgot about that. So we'll see how far we get with that one. So that's a quick update on my What the Fade. All the yarns that I used I went through very briefly last week, and the info is also on my Ravelry page if you want to have a look. It all came from Stash, which I'm pleased about. So next project, I'm flying through my whips. No FOs this week because it has only been a week and I've been trucking away on my whips. but I picked up, I'm very impressed with myself that I picked this up, my alpenglow sweater. So I've separated for sleeves, very pleased about that. And I tried it on. Last week I was concerned about the neckline being a wee bit too broad. I've tried it on since, and while it is broad, I can work with it. So even if I have maybe done something wrong, I can work with it and bring it in a little bit if I need to. So let me stand up. This is my alpenglow. So that was my progress from last time. This is a little progress keeper from Twill and Pearl that I bought from Botanical Yarns. Little coffee cup with a little yarn ball in it. Very cute. So that's my progress on that. It's about 300 stitches. I think I'm knitting the 5th size for this jumper. And this is my first 50-gram skein of the main colour. It's going pretty far. I think because there's so much colour work with the rest. Still going pretty far. Still got quite a bit to go. Maybe about 25 grams left. So I'm very happy with that. I've been working away. But I did find yesterday, I knit on it while I was watching the Grocery Girls podcast. And I love the Grocery Girls. I have been watching them for years and years, and I love their long episodes because I get a lot of knitting done. It's like watching a movie, like a really long movie, but it's like watching a movie and just sitting with your best friends and getting a lot of knitting done. This is in a bag that I made. I have the pattern. I can't remember the designer. She's on Ravelry. I'll link it below in case you want to get the pattern. I added this little pocket. Very cute. It's got pockets on the inside. I'm not a very talented bag maker, and I find sewing frustrating because I am a very typical Virgo in that I like to be good at something right away. And if I'm not good at it, I find it really frustrating to get over the hurdle. I think maybe I'm a bit of a perfectionist as well, so when my little stitches are going everywhere, I find it frustrating. But I stick at it. I've been sewing little project bags for years, maybe 2 or 3 years now. I'm sticking at it. I find it very frustrating. I'm very slow at it, but this is cute. I like this fabric, and I like the little good luck charms. Very cute. So those are my 2 main whips that I'm kind of trucking away. They'll be whips for a while, I imagine. I would really love to finish my Alpenglow by October, but we will see if that happens. October is creeping up on us. So anyway, my next whip is a sock whip. A different sock whip. Not the sock that I showed you last week. This one is the sock set that I was telling you about from Giddy Aunt Yarns. It's one of their Curiosity Club sets that I picked up at a market. It was a leftover one. You can't get this yarn anymore. I'm really sorry because you missed out. So that is their colorway Fly Away. And it's beautiful. I love this dark grey mini that came with it. It was a 50-gram sock set. And I am knitting 2 at a time on 2 different needles. The Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern. Now I went back and forth about that because I don't like to show support for someone who makes very harmful comments about trans people. I don't support that. This is a free pattern. It's not going directly into J.K. Rowling's pocket, so I feel a little bit better about that. These are the Hermione's Everyday Socks. Very simple pattern. It was actually the first sock pattern that I knit. It's a really simple purl repeat, 4-row repeat. Yeah, it's free, it's simple, it's what I learned to knit socks with. It's got a heel flap and gusset. In the pattern they give an eye of partridge one, which means that you get a kind of crisscross rather than your lines, but I prefer the slip stitch lines. Did my little heel turn on this. If you haven't knit socks before, it can be quite daunting, especially when you hear about a heel flap and gusset. This is what it's supposed to look like, and it looks weird. But you basically knit your sock. I knit this to 5 inches from the tip, from the corner. From cast on, I knit 5 inches, and then I worked just on one side, the heel flap back and forth. You do a little short row turn for your heel, and then what I'll do is I'll go and I'll pick up stitches here, knit this in pattern, pick up stitches here, and then you knit round and decrease as you go. So socks can be quite daunting if you haven't seen what a sock looks like before it's fully knit. That's what it looks like. Very strange, but very easy pattern, pretty clearly written, and it's a nice pattern for socks to go to when you don't want vanilla. So I've got my other one done. I cast on using the center for one and pulling from the outer side for the other, so that I could knit them at the same time and not get second sock syndrome. So this one's ready for its heel. I've just finished that heel. I have to pick up some stitches, so I'll do my heel flap before I'll do each stage of the sock before I move on. Look at this yarn. That is beautiful. I feel like it's right. I also need to stop myself from saying beautiful so much, because I'm not impressed with myself saying it so often. It's a very lovely yarn. Really tonal. Love the grey with it. And it works up so differently depending on what you knit. I really like this yarn. And I really love that Giddy Ants do the sock sets where you get 50 grams and a 20 gram mini, because they're really reasonably priced, actually. I think they're £14 for a set, which is just perfect. I don't really need more than 50 grams for a sock of this length. I think I could actually knit a 6-inch sock leg and still be fine for yarn. So those are my little socks. I cast those on this week, and I could finish them depending on what I'm doing. So there's some little sock whips on the go. I feel like this is my first little autumnal sock of the season. I like to knit socks seasonally. Love it. I'll show you their little thing again. And this is the smooth sock set. Definitely check out their website. They have a couple of sock sets still up. So that's one whip. Pop it back, it's rounded back. Okay, what have I got? Oh yeah, another sock. So I mentioned last week that my granny taught me to knit. She doesn't knit too much anymore. Her hands, she's got arthritis, so her hands kind of seize up a little bit, but she still gets the urge to knit quite a bit. So we've gone into this rhythm of Gran becoming a kind of sock knitting machine, where she will knit tubes of stockinette because she finds it really relaxing in the morning. I cast on, do the cuff for her, and then she'll knit the main body and foot of the sock, and then I'll go in, add a toe, cut in an afterthought heel, and we'll have made a little pair of socks together. So we've made my grandfather a couple of pairs that way. And then she cast on, or I cast on for her, a pair for my other half in West Coast Spinners, I believe this is. It's one of their colourways that are named after birds. I believe this is maybe the bullfinch. So Gran has knit the tubes, which is the most tedious part for me anyway. She's knit the tubes. We did these 72 stitches on a 2.5mm needle. Her gauge is a lot looser than mine, but that's fine. They match, I think. Yeah, they do match. So I've added some little yellow toes with this as a cascade. What way am I? Do you know when you catch yourself on doing something? That's what that was. Anyway, I've got a little bit of leftover cascade yarn. No idea what colour this is. It's probably mustard, something like that. So I added the toes and I'm going to cut in his heels. And that'll be another little pair of socks for my other half. So I feel like that's a pretty good division of labour. It lets Gran knit in the morning and kind of clear her head a little bit before she starts the day. And then I can add in my toes and heels. So I'm going to add the toes for him. These have been done for a while. I'm going to add the toes in this weekend because it is now time for new socks for our Neil. Alright, last project has been in the works for probably 3 years now. Let me explain myself. It is a crochet blanket, a little scrappy crochet blanket. So I had a lot of leftovers of different sock projects. I had some mini sets or skeins that I didn't know what to do with, so I just decided to crochet some granny squares. I have probably 150. That was a giddy ant yarn from last Halloween. Nice. So yeah, I've got little scrappy granny squares thrown in, and I haven't been doing anything with them yet because I didn't know how I wanted to join them, but I bit the bullet and decided to do a slip stitch join, and I basically joined like colours together. So I've only done one column of, well, 2 columns with the join of my granny squares. I feel like I've done it too tight. I think I need to go, because these are puckering. So I feel like I'm probably going to have to rip that out and go with a bigger hook just to make sure that the blanket doesn't pucker. But the idea is to do a slip stitch join down this way and then go across once I've got a load of columns gone. But yeah, it's tight. I think I might go and redo it. Luckily, the slip stitch join did not take very long at all. But I feel like it's about time. It's about time. It's probably not, the amount of granny squares that I have at the minute is probably not big enough to cover my bed yet. But the beauty of this is that I can just keep adding to it as I go. And I'm just joining with a plain undyed skein of yarn that it doesn't really need to be consistent because it's a scrappy project. So, yeah, I picked up and did that while I was sitting in a meeting the other day, which is the great thing about Zoom meetings. I can't see that I'm crocheting a blanket. But yeah, I like that it has yarns from different projects. And I love how differently variegated yarn looks when it's crocheted. Lovely. So that was my last whip that I've been working on this week. I'm going to take a little water break. So I received a couple of little skeins in the mail that I had ordered a little while ago from Wool Warehouse. So I loved the grey in my Giddy Ants sock set. So I wanted to try out some more greys from the Coop Knits Sock Yeah collection. Wool Warehouse has a lot of their colours. My local yarn store stocks this sock yarn, Hank's Yarn Parlour, and I can't resist picking up a couple of skeins every time I go in. But I don't think she had the greys, so I put in a little order. So they have very non-intuitive, for me anyway, names. So, but I'll tell you them anyway. This one is called Melanite. This is like a school jumper kind of grey. Nice and dark. And that's showing up pretty true. So that is Melanite. Then we have a nice pale grey, which is Chalcedony. I shall write that below so that you can actually see what that is. I have no idea how to pronounce this, but it's a nice light grey. Slightly leaning blue, but not a blue grey. And then the last one, which is definitely a green grey, is, I'm assuming Iolite and not Lowlight. Iolite, it's capital I. Oh, you can really see the green shining through there. Wasn't expecting the green with that. So I'm glad I got it to compare with the other ones, because I couldn't really see the green on the picture. So there are a couple of greys that I've picked up. Because I want some spooky socks, and I have some leftover Halloween yarn from last year that I think these would pair quite nicely together. But it's good to see the different shades. So they're lined up here in the order that I read them out and butchered their names. So that's what I went to Wool Warehouse for. I also went there because I've said that I hate sewing, and yet I persist. Oh, yeah. So I ordered some Halloween fabric to make a little sock project bag for my sister and I. So I've got this. I think we're going to do mini versions of the bag I showed earlier. We're going to do this in the top. This will be our main, and then the inside will be very cute little ghosties. I got quite a lot of this because I have to make pockets and things out of that. So I picked up some little fabric fat quarters. This is a wee bit more for those bags. And then I forgot, I also picked up another Coop Knits Sock Yeah skein, which is called Argan, and it's neon orange. And it really is neon. Because I really wanted a nice neon colour to go with some of the Halloween yarn that I have, and I'll show that in a minute. So that was my little haul from... So those are the skeins that I got from Wool Warehouse. These come in 50 grams, which is perfect because you can either make them up into minis to add with other skeins, or you could get a set of shorty socks out of one of these skeins. Cute. Okay, so that is my little haul from Wool Warehouse. I wanted to pick up some autumnal Halloween colours because I have a lot of leftover yarn that's seasonal from last year, and also, like I mentioned earlier, there are some sock knit-alongs happening. So the one that I wanted to talk about the most, and the one that I'm definitely joining in, is by Earth Tones Girl. It is her annual Falling Leaves sock cal, where you knit an autumnal pair of socks between the 15th of September and the 15th of November, and you enter in using her hashtag. I think it's all on Instagram. So I'm definitely going to join in with that knit along. And these are the first socks that I have in mind. These are the Spectacular Socks by This Handmade Life. little bit of colour work, and I have the perfect mini set to go with that. This is from Botanical Yarns. I think this was, oh, she did have a pincushion flower mini set, and I think I bought it a couple of months ago, but this is perfect September colours for me, and I think it would look really nice in that sock set. So I wanted to get the greys to pair this together to kind of go for the same vibe that the original socks were in. So I think that'll be really nice. I had considered adding a natural sock yarn to this, and I do have one here. But it changes up the whole vibe of it. Makes it more springtime, I think. So I think I will go with this dark colour and make some little colourwork shorties. Very cute. So that's my plan for that. Other spooky socks that I think will be in the works in the next couple of months are, I've gathered all my sock yarn together that's like my leftovers. I like to use up, if I have quite a bit of like 30 grams or more, I would like to knit another pair of socks out of those. So this one was gifted to me by my sister. It's her leftovers. This is, I believe, pixie yarn in some sort of spooky trick-or-treat is what it's called. It's either pixie yarn or Biff sugar. I can't remember. I'll check with her and I'll put it in my little show notes below. But it's a pretty vibrant pink. It's got little flecks of orange and green in there. Very cute. So I thought I could probably do some pretty bright little socks with that. I also have a couple of leftovers. This one is chain fibre. I think this is a BFL. And I can't remember what the colourway is. I've had it for years. I did put it into a marled jumper that I can't remember if I ripped it out or not. I don't know where that is now. But I was thinking, this is a little mini from a grab bag from Botanical Yarn. I was thinking they would go quite nicely together. Make a kind of little monster sock set. And then I knit my granny a pair of socks out of this. And while it's not Halloweeny necessarily, it is autumnal, I think. It's got some nice, oh, you can definitely see the orange there. Looks like a little rose. But I was thinking of pairing that with this. This is Giddy Ants, another favourite. I knit my wool and honey out of this colour. No, I didn't. My wool and honey is in blackcurrant jam, which is very similar. This I think is Grimald. Grimald? Grimald. Because there's more navy in it. But I thought they would be nice little autumnal socks. So I've got sock plans. It's in a little Halloween bag that I made last year. Very cute. So I have sock plans. I basically have a cupboard. This cupboard is full of my stash, and I have probably about 100 minis in it, and I just like pulling stuff together and making little scrappy socks out of. I'm very excited about this one. I might skein that up today. I do have a lot of other socks on the needles too, but I just can't resist. Maybe I'll finish my Hermione socks and then cast those on. I also do the Grocery Girls Sock Bash knit along. They have you probably have heard of it, but they have an annual knit along that has a different theme each month. You can just knit socks and add them in, and it doesn't matter if they don't join in the theme, but if you do knit the theme, you get an extra entry. And it's a really popular knit along, and they don't talk about it as much anymore, but they still run it on Ravelry, and I join in and try to join in. So my Hermione Socks definitely will qualify for that. Their theme this month is foliage, I think. And I had cast on a pattern sock. Got to the heel and realised that I had messed it up. Well, I hadn't messed it up. The pattern was beautiful. I put my heel on wonky, so the pattern didn't sit how it's supposed to. And I could have just continued knitting it, but it was annoying me that it was wrong. So I pulled that out and knit the Hermione Socks instead, because I just would have thought about that mistake every time I wore them. So, that's all my knitting content. Yes, it is. Tomorrow I am going to pick up some more yarn from Giddy Ants, who are about 10-15 minutes away from me. So that's nice. Gonna go with my boyfriend Neil. We'll get a little coffee and then head over there to pick up my goodies. There's Neil coughing in the background. This weekend my sister's going to come round for a little knitting day tomorrow. We're going to make our spooky bags, and then I'm off work for a full week, which I'm very excited about. I'm going to hopefully get a lot of knitting done. And it's my birthday on Monday, and the Queen's funeral. I didn't mention what I was wearing. This is my Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie May Designs. Her Cozy Classic Raglan is written for DK, but I knit this in a sport weight. This is John Arbon's Yarnadelic yarn, which came out recently, I think this year. It's their kind of 60s palette inspired. I think this colour is Pink Moon. Love this pattern. It's a sport weight yarn, but I just knit it at the same gauge that I should have knit a DK, and got a slightly looser gauge, but you can actually tell it's nice. It's not super wash, I don't think, or if it is, it's slightly more rustic than a merino nylon, whatever the wool content is, but I love it. I can be a little bit sensitive to different wools, but this one's lovely. Really nice, kind of cozy. The weather's turning. It's coming into autumn. I'm very excited. It's nice to be chilly again. Yeah, so I love this jumper. I knit it fairly quickly, and I believe that Hank's Yarn Parlour still has some in stock, different colours, and I am tempted to get another sweater quantity. I bought 5 skeins, just going by the yardage, and I think I knit the 2XL in this, and I only used 4 skeins, so that was quite nice. And I think that's everything from me. No cameo from Henry today because he is snoozing. And he's adorable, so I'm not going to wake him up to bring him over. But thank you very much for joining me again. I will see you next week with hopefully a lot of knitting, because I'll have had the whole week off. Hopefully it'll be rainy. Hopefully I'll be stuck inside and all I can do is knit. That's the plan. So yeah. Have a great week. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.